Another week, more movies. What have you been watching, Andrew? All right, all right, all right. Here we are. Another week, more movies. What have you been watching, Andrew?
Movie.
We haven't talked about Star Trek in a while. I feel like we kind of
I
haven't
haven't
talked
been
about
I
kind of
haven't
like.
been
So you've been
watching it
watching it?
lately. Yeah. I
Just
kind of
not
I'm
feeling
just
it?
I've just been taking a break with it.
Okay.
I blew my load really quickly and I still love it. I still really enjoy it, but just probably since the last time we talked about it, I've just been kind of I diverged on into Twin Peaks and
Right.
essentially sped run it, and so now I'm kind of TV showed out. I don't
Okay.
think I want to watch TV right now, but I'll eventually get back on it. I'm like so close. I think I'm on season 6 and there's 7 seasons. So like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't take long for me to finish it. So
Of
soon enough I will. But then after DS9, there's also all the other shows. So I don't know.
course. There's always more Star Trek.
Yeah, there's always more. Yeah.
It's never ending.
Mm-hmm. You've been going to the movie theater, haven't you?
I've been going a lot. I've been using that movie subscription thing. I can't
Is
even
is
get
Movie
like
Pass
close.
is new Movie Pass still is it good?
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
going strong. I don't know. Again, strongly urge anyone listening to the podcast, and I strongly urge you, Andrew, to go
Maybe.
while the iron is hot because I'm very skeptical. Although I've been reading a little bit,
That's gonna last. Okay.
yeah, I've been reading a little bit on like their whole system and like how they expect to make money. And I guess it sort of makes sense, which the idea is that they're not actually planning to profit from the subscription. Like the subscription is kind of secondary
Yeah.
to what their business is. Their business is actually they sell your private info to companies. That's how they make their money. So they're
Okay.
so they're basically just a company. They're basically doing what Google does, right? They
What?
make
So
all their
they're just like
money by
they're
selling
being
analytics.
completely they're being completely upfront about that, you mean?
No, they're not upfront about that. They don't say that. I read it
Oh,
in I
okay.
read it
You read it
ironically
somewhere. You
enough,
look
I
like
read it
an
in a
investigation piece or something.
it wasn't even it was a book writing that was written very recently about different startups. And it was praising MoviePass, by the way. It was not it was not saying they were wrong or indicting them in any way. It's like this is how they make their money, which is something. So I mean, I guess MoviePass isn't they're not hiding it, I guess, but they're not telling people particularly. So look, I don't care because I have no information for them to like sell that's all that interesting because the only information they can really sell is the movies you see, the type of movies you see. So the idea is that they sell this information to movie theaters and production companies and that sort of thing. So if you're someone who's very into their privacy, I guess this wouldn't be for you, but for me, I don't really care.
Fuck it. You get to see movies. You get
Yeah.
to use it. You get
I
to
mean,
see
so let
movies
me
at
say this.
discount.
It's $20 a month. And just the other day, I saw a movie and the ticket was $15 for one ticket.
No, I understand. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely worth it. I'm still skeptical that this company is going to survive. I still very much think that it's going to go under again because even if they
We'll
are
see.
selling private
Yeah.
information, like there's just no way that that is viable. Like you're just going to run out of people very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm using it while I can. And the amount of credits you get for like $20, because there's three versions. There's a $10, $20, and a $30. I picked the middle one, the $20 one, because I thought, oh, there's no way like I'd only use the $10 one. But I don't know. I get like 150 credits a month, and I've never even. I mean, I still have like 100 credits. I've been going to the movie like every other fucking day, man. Go to the movie all the time, and
Nothing looks good. I'm just like I don't know.
I
Like I would
know,
just if I got Movie Pass, I would just feel bad. It's kind of like the gym membership, you know what I mean? Like you buy
right?
it and you pay for it every month and then you're like I don't want to go because nothing looks good or I don't feel like it. And but then I feel like I'm wasting my money.
You might want to check if they work with the Speed Art Museum because they do work with most independent art house
That's
cinemas.
another problem too though. The Speed Art Museum schedule has been really lame lately. I'll just
Oh,
say that up
really?
front. Lately nothing has been looking good there.
Wow, just calling them out
I'm just saying, like, I check in, every so often, and it's like,
for
yep,
sure.
nothing looks good for the next month or so. So
Damn,
that sucks. Just nothing has.
it
So I haven't
sucks.
been there in a while just because they haven't been playing anything interesting. And, regular movie theaters too, everything looks pretty, not fun. I don't really I just, I'm not really willing to spend money on a movie that I'm not excited to go to. Like even this new Ari Aster movie that I know you saw, I'm just like, it's 3 hours. I don't know, man. Like I know you liked it and you can talk about it if you want, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of jump into the movies that we've seen. I've seen a couple movies in theaters, but something I was very excited about seeing was Beau is Afraid, which of course just came out on Thursday. And I wasn't sure what it would be because the trailers were very vague, which,
Yeah. Is it funny?
yes, it is funny.
Okay.
And it's very different from his other films. It is nothing like Hereditary or Midsommar. It is a big divergence from his earlier work and something I think you would enjoy, even though it is 3 hours long. And I was very skeptical. You know how I feel about 3 hour movies? Like, I'm like, I don't know if movies need to be 3 hours. But as I said in my letterbox review, it's sort of his odyssey. It's such a intriguingly, bafflingly film. And the trailer only shows about the first 10 to 15 minutes of the actual film itself. So you basically come to this film blind, which strongly suggests people go into this movie as blind as you can. So I'm not going to give away any details to this film because I don't think that will help the experience in any way. I want to give as little context as I can because this film is so wild, but I found this film to be incredibly haunting and created this incredible sense of deja vu in this nightmarish way. And one of the ways Ari Aster does this is he has a lot of really big name comedic actors play very small background roles where you never see their faces. So the Fonz, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen,
Henry Winkler. Learn his name.
yes, Henry Winkler. Some of these even uncredited,
Okay. Interesting.
and they're often in the background. For most of them, you only ever hear their voice. You don't even see their face. And he does this in sort of this inverse cameo way. Because you know how when you watch a movie and they're like, oh, look, it's this famous actor, and
Oh
here's our
shit.
nod to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
It's the inverse of that because first of all, he's not pointing it out. They're often in the background or they're not even in the film officially. But what this does is it creates this eerie sense of familiarity because that voice, like, it's familiar, like, that voice, like, you've heard it a million times before. And yet he refuses to play into that. And I think he does that on purpose because it creates that weird sense of deja vu. Like when I saw Fred Armisen in the background, like I knew that was Fred Armisen, but he has like one line and it's something like, why am I here? Or something to that effect. Like basically it adds nothing to the film at all. But I think this is very purposeful. I don't think it's just because he wanted famous actors in the film. I don't think it's so he could get funding for the film. I think, in my opinion, is because it creates this incredible eerie sense of this has happened before or this is familiar. And yet this world he creates is not like our world at all. It's very dreamlike, and the plot itself is not a vision of reality, but surrealistic. And it sort of floats from thing to thing. And it plays with a lot of different film techniques and animation. And it's not a scary film like I thought it would be. Like Hereditary is a scary movie. It's you watch it, you get scared, and that's the movie. And Midsommar is still pretty much the same thing. It's a scary movie. I mean, it's a little bit different, but kind of the same aspects. But the thing about this movie is when you watch the movie, it's not scary. Like there's no jump scares at all. There's nothing overtly scary except for like one scene, which is a bit scary. But despite that, I find this film, and I remember walking out of the theater with this gnawing feeling that it is an awful feeling, but I think it's purposeful. And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but the film haunts me. And I don't know why it does necessarily. I don't think I necessarily grab onto these characters in a personal sense, but there's something about it that's just off. And I think that's what makes it great. It's like it never feels right. And you can't put your hand on it. I mean, I've been thinking about this movie a lot since I saw it the other day. I guess it was only, 24 hours ago? I saw it yesterday. But there's something about it that just feels weird and wrong. and I don't know why, but I know 3 hours is a big investment, but I think you should see it in theaters, Andrew. I know it's a lot, but I think it's worth it.
I'll think about it. What, do you think it's better than his other two?
I think it's his best film. Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen Hereditary, I've seen Midsummer, I've seen him in theaters.
Hmm.
For some reason, I'm just like not excited for like a lot of filmmakers today. It's hard for me to get excited about the new Damien Chazelle movie. It's hard for me to get excited for the new Ari Aster movie. It's hard for me to get
Yeah.
excited for the new Greta Gerwig movie. It's hard for me to get excited
Barbie.
for the new not even just because it's Barbie. It's just like I'm trying to like think of like another kind of person who everyone loves to throw around as some kind of amazing filmmaker artist. I don't know. It's just like sometimes I think like people. I just feel like people build up guys like this way too much, and they and it's just I find myself losing more and more interest in film director guys who are they're fucking on the cutting edge. It's like I don't know. I think I would rather just stay home and watch like two Clint Eastwood movies,
Yeah.
than go to the theater to watch a movie I'm not very excited to go see. But that's not to say that I'm not ever going to see it. I am going to see it, and I might watch it in theaters. There's a good chance I will, but I'll have to think about it. I'm busy lately. I can't even.
You're a busy man.
I might also see the Mario movie, but I don't know. I know you saw that too, but I don't know. I might go see it. I kind of want to go see it.
I think you should see it. I mean,
I do want to see it.
look, it's exactly what you expect it to be. So don't go into it expecting anything other than what it is. But what it is very enjoyable. I mean, the animation's good. The people are funny in it. It's got little Easter eggs and all of that shit. There's nothing great about it. There's nothing unique about it, but it is a
Cool.
perfectly fun movie. But you know what? I did see
I
this
might go see it.
movie in DFX, which is the first time I've
Shit.
seen a movie in like a proper movie theater because I know I complain about this a lot, but many of the movies in Reno Theater, even the like Centuries and big box cinemas, they fucking suck. The sound's almost
They don't give
always
a
too
fuck.
quiet. The projection is shit half the time.
The
They're
people that
very
work there are underpaid and don't care.
yeah, they don't give a shit. So it's rare that I have a good cinematic experience beyond, just watching a good film. The actual physical elements of it are often subpar, but Super Mario was in DFX, which is it's not IMAX, but it's like close to IMAX. It's like the step below IMAX. So it was definitely worth seeing it in DFX. Also, weird thing, I don't know if it was because they were showing DFX or whatever. There were no trailers before this movie, which I've
Hmm.
seen 4 movies in theaters this week, and I see movies in theaters almost every single week. It's
Ooh,
the
that
only
sounds
movie I've
good.
seen in a very long time that had no trailers before it. I don't know
Ooh,
why. I
that
have
sounds
no
good.
idea why, but there
I
was
love
not a
that.
single trailer. It was just like
Nothing to show.
12 o'clock came around and they dim the lights and the movie just comes on.
Oh,
It was so
that's
strange.
perfect. Oh, I wish everything was like that.
Man, I know you hate trailers, but like I fucking
I hate
trailers are
I
my
hate when
favorite
there's
part.
20 minutes of trailers.
That's true. That's too much.
Come on, like yeah, it's just yeah.
Well, that's the great thing about that Landmark and Keystone back in Indiana is they always did three
Yeah.
trailers. So it's like 10 minutes. They're typically short trailers and then you're done. So it's like it's not too many because sometimes, especially because trailers tend to be based off of whatever production company does it. So if you go see a Disney movie, there's gonna be like 50 fucking trailers. Where when you see an A24 movie like Beau's Afraid, they basically only showed A24 trailers, and A24 doesn't make that many movies, so they're only like 3 trailers.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
824. Disgusting.
Ugh. Ugh.
I'm not even like kidding. Like, get him out of here.
I'm trying to think the last great movie made by A24. I mean, Beau Afraid is good. So the Ari Aster is vast, but I don't even know, man.
Movies are done. Like they're over. Like we have to return to like a simpler time. Like, have you ever seen the original Mario movie, like from the 80s? Have you ever seen
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah. The
Okay,
live
that
action
one's
one, right?
good. I think I would rather watch that one than the new one. The live action one's cool. I saw it as a kid, but I haven't seen it since then. I would love to watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was little. Oh, I guess they did Last Black Man in San Francisco. Sorry, that was 4 years ago. But yeah, you liked X, didn't you?
It's fine.
Yeah, like I said,
We're done.
it's over.
Okay, look, I'm going to talk about a movie right now.
Go on.
Well, a couple of movies right now that are actually good. So I'm going to talk about right now about this movie I watched randomly, The Devil's Advocate. Have you seen this shit?
I don't think so. Let me look it up.
Motherfucking Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino.
Oh, I know a movie you're talking
Keanu
about.
Reeves. It's a lawyer movie on
Yeah.
cocaine. Keanu Reeves, he's a Florida lawyer and he defends sickos. He's a defense lawyer that defends criminals and sickos and pedophiles. And he gets picked up by this evil New York City law firm. And so he and his wife, who's Charlize Theron, they go and move to New York City to work with this sicko law firm that's like led by Al Pacino. Things start to get a little weird. They start to get a little weird. And yeah, it just kind of made me wish, like, I was just watching and I'm just like, man, like, if this movie came out today, it would have the shittiest writing of all time. It would be like, first of all, the movie's like almost 2.5 hours long. This movie would probably be like 3 hours if it came out today.
Oh yeah.
They would probably put in like the writing would be there would be more like stupid comedy shit in it. Like there would be a lot of like Josh Sweden like I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm just kind of like I just like this movie is just so crazy. It's like it's on drugs, you know. It's just so cool.
Like they were
And it's so
probably
weird.
doing cocaine while writing this movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and so like okay, so and I was like, man, this movie is so cool. I like it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I found out that the movie is written by a guy named Tony Gilroy,
Okay.
whose name I had heard of before. He's the guy who's written almost all of the Bourne movies, of which I've seen
Oh
almost
shit.
all of them.
Yeah.
And he's also the guy who wrote Rogue One, the Star Wars movie.
Oh shit.
And he is now, I think, the kind of like lead producer, writer guy for that Andor show now too, which
Right.
is kind of like, you know, a successor to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's also written for like Armageddon, which is a good Michael Bay movie, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And I also find out he wrote and directed the 2007 film Michael Clayton.
Oh yeah.
Ever seen Michael Clayton?
I haven't seen it, but I know it.
Yeah. George Clooney. It's written and directed by Tony Gilroy, like I said,
Right.
2007. Once again, you know, just like crazy ass movie. It really didn't come out that long ago. Well, you know, 16 years ago. And just like a great film, dude. Really one of the best films of the 2000s that I've seen. Just a kick-ass movie. It reminded me of a lot of stuff that I love. It reminded me of like Michael Mann,
Yeah.
The Insider specifically, which is a
Okay.
great movie of the 90s. Michael Caine is probably like the last breath of these kind of like really kind of down low kind of thriller, lawyer, corporate thriller kind of things. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they're scary, but they're not horror movies. Like there's no Dracula or there's no vampires or
Yeah.
zombies. It's scary because it's real life essentially. And
Yeah.
this movie kind of has like a Monsanto thing going on.
Okay. Yeah.
Michael Clayton, of which the movie is named after, is played by George Clooney, and he's like a fixer. He's like a lawyer fixer guy. And his friend Arthur, he like freaks out because he's representing of essentially a Monsanto like company, and he freaks out. He gets off his medication and he essentially has a nervous breakdown, and it kind of like sort of topples from there. It's got Sidney Pollack is in it too. I think it's his last film role. And yeah, man, like you know, Michael Clayton. It's kind of a silly title, you know, like
Yeah.
Michael Clayton. There's something about it that's kind of like funny, like before you even watch it. But I don't know. For me, I love kind of like that corporate law firm espionage thriller
Yeah.
kind of thing going on.
Very 2000s.
Very 2000s, very late 90s. Like I said, The Insider, one of my favorite Michael Mann movies, very similar to it, but a little bit different. The Insider is kind of like about journalism and corporate stuff. Michael Clean is more about like the law and corporate stuff. So, and then like environmental destruction and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very, 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 very good. And yeah, it's too bad that basically everyone has decided to give up on making stuff like that. And I love Tony Gilroy. It's just, but yeah, it's just, and it's good that like he's getting like big paychecks, I'm guessing. But yeah, it's like the one job that Tony Gilroy can now work on nowadays is Star Wars stuff. It's like, okay, all right, whatever.
Well, speaking of middling movies that I saw in theaters, I saw Renfield in theaters this week because I'm running out of movies to watch. I mean, when is movie season gonna start? I feel like
It's just never ever gonna happen. Like it's over. Like you look at like the more and more I like think about like what's coming up soon, and the more depressed it makes me. There's maybe like a few things that look good.
man, this year has just been a shitty year for movies. I
You get John Wick 4. John Wick 4 is good.
John
Creed
Wick
3
4
is
was
good.
great. Yeah.
Creed 3 is good movie.
Creed 3 is good.
But yeah, pretty much everything I've seen in theater so far, which is really not very much. I'm just realizing now, I've only seen 4 movies in theaters so far this year. Nothing has
Wow.
appealed to me.
No, I get that.
Actually, I've only seen 4 movies that have come out this year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I just nothing on streaming looks good. Nothing in theaters looks good. Just yeah.
Yeah. It's been kind of lame. And I didn't have high expectations for Renfield. I knew Nick
Yeah.
Cage would be fun, which he is, but whenever it's not Nick Cage, it sucks. The Nicholas Holt Renfield character is annoying and the action is lame. And
That actor is like in a genre of like actors that I don't trust very much. He's kind of in like the same kind of like pool as Rami Malek,
yeah, yeah,
who if I see him in something, I'm like, this guy's not kind enough for me. I'm not really
yeah,
a fan of him or Rami or guys like that. There's something kind of off and awkward about them, and I don't think
sure.
they're very good.
Do you ever see The Great, the Hulu show?
I'm good. No, I didn't. But whatever it is,
It's about Catherine the Great, played by shit. Who is that? Fuck, can't remember who that is. Anyways, whoever the woman is who plays Catherine the Great, it's very well written, looks very good. Nicholas Holt plays the king of whatever fucking country, Russia or whatever, I think is what it is. Who knows? I think so. It's a good show, man. But I definitely vibe with the
English
Nicholas
guy.
Holt situation because look, there's narration in this, and
Perfect.
we've talked about my typical disdain for narration, and this is
I think it's good.
it's the epitome of what I hate about narration. Like it adds nothing of value to the movie. It just explains shit that you already get. Like there'll be times where he's just walking away from something and you fully grasp like what's going on. And he'll explain like his emotional like feelings. It's like we get it. Like we just saw the interaction happen. Like we know what's going on. You don't need to also explain it. It's like Blade Runner narration awfulness. It's terrible. Oh my god.
I like the Will Sloan. He didn't like the movie. I keep bringing up Will Sloan. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's such a good writer. And he says, a movie made by people whose only goal or passion was to sell a pitch. Collect Cage's scenes into a YouTube supercut and be done with it.
Yes. I that is better than anything I can say about the movie. That's extremely accurate. I mean, Nick Cage is fun and that's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, great.
I mean,
Great to
you could
hear.
probably make a cut of this movie that's just Nick Cage, which would probably be 25, 30 minutes. That'd be a pretty good movie.
I've heard all the cop and robber shit is really bad.
Yes, it is. It's so dumb. And you're supposed to, for some reason, care about this relationship between Renfield, played by Nicholas Holt, and the cop character who's Aquafina. And I've never seen less chemistry between two human beings. It does not work. I mean, Aquafina is,
A questionable
you know,
actor.
yes,
Yeah.
she is great in that one A24 movie. It's a
The image,
serious
like,
role.
yeah, I know what you're talking
She's
about,
good
like
in
where she
that.
is like a family thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to China or something.
But she's like a comedic actor, and it's like anytime
She
like I
is
see
not a
like a
good
clip of her,
comedic
and I'm like,
actor,
no,
in my
yeah,
opinion. I don't think she's funny, and this movie is not funny, and it doesn't do anyone any favors. It's probably the worst movie I've seen in theaters in a while. I mean, looking back at my recent theater extravaganza. Not the worst movie I've seen recently, though, but definitely the worst movie I've seen in theaters since. Damn, yeah, probably the worst movie I've seen in theaters this year. Lame. Just fucking lame, man.
Cool.
What else you been up
Sounds
to?
about right. I did start just, unprompted. I'm going through all the Woody Allen movies, starting from the beginning essentially.
Okay.
Going through them all, going through all his directed work. And yeah, just kind of I've watched a couple. I've seen Annie Hall. That's like the one movie I've seen by him, but I
Sure.
haven't seen that movie since college.
Yeah.
So I'll probably go back to that. But I've seen Bananas, Everything You Always Want to Know About Sex, and Love and Death. Bananas funny. Everything You Always Want to Know About Sex, kind of whatever, but whatever.
It's got Gene Wilder in it.
I watched Love and Death last night, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes perfect sense watching this movie. I haven't like read any like Woody Allen like interviews or anything like that of him talking about what he likes or anything like that. But when I
Yeah.
watched Love and Death, I realized like, oh yeah, he's a Bergman acolyte.
Yes.
He likes
He
Bergman a lot.
is.
Okay,
He
so
fucking
that's what
loves
we're gonna
Bergman.
get. We're gonna get a lot of like Bergman. He clearly, yeah, like Woody Allen is obviously he likes foreign movies, like he likes
Yes.
European movies. So okay, we're gonna get a lot of that. So that kind of clicked in with me, and I liked Love and Death. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
So I'll continue watching his movies.
You're about to get.
I don't really have much to say about it.
Have you seen Stardust Memories yet?
No, I haven't seen any of his movies besides Annie Hall and these ones I just mentioned. So I'm gonna get to Stardust Memories. I'm gonna get to all these guys.
I had a big Alan phase back in college, and I went through almost all of his movies up to.
I know they get worse.
Yeah, I think once they started to fade, I stopped watching. So I haven't watched like his. I've seen Wonder Wheel, which is pretty not good. There's nothing good about it. But Stardust Memories is my favorite Woody Allen movie and one of my favorite movies. I really love that movie. I think it's top notch. And I think you're pretty close. I think you made that in 1980, so you're close. I like Love and Death a lot too. But if Love and Death is his Bergman film, Stardust Memories is his 8.5 film. It's basically 8.5. It's just Woody Allen's 8.5. He actually wanted to call the movie 9.5, but they wouldn't let him.
There's a couple of his early movies I still need to get to. Like I need to watch Take the Money and Run and Sleeper. I'm gonna get to those
Oh
two
yeah,
soon. Just some of his movies aren't really easily accessible, so I have to find them elsewhere to watch them.
yeah. His early stuff can be hard to find. What's your favorite Allen movie so far?
Probably Love and Death. Well, I guess Annie Hall is probably better than Love and Death, but I haven't seen it since college. So, I mean, I've barely watched any of them though. Like I haven't watched any
Right.
of his newer stuff. Like I haven't seen any of his newer stuff. I really don't have like a strong like opinion or impression of his films yet. So, but I mean, they're fine. They're good so far.
Hey, Emily. Hi. Did you watch any movies this week? We watched Rumor Has It, the Rob Reiner film. Have you seen this movie?
I'm good.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
It wasn't that bad.
Do you know what the plot of this movie is, Andrew?
It's a Rob Reiner movie.
Do you know the plot?
No.
So Jennifer Aniston plays a fucking journalist or something who is about to get married to Mark Ruffalo. She writes obituaries. Thank you, Emily. And the plot of this movie is that her family is the real life version of The Graduate. So basically, the premise is that The Graduate movie is based off of real people, but no one's heard of this movie, The Graduate. Like they make it like this esoteric, like indie film that no one's heard of for some reason. And what'd you say?
It is an indie.
No, it's not. It's an extremely famous movie. It's arguably one of the most famous movies of the 20th century.
It's argued. Yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
Anyways, so that's the basic plot of the movie, in which her grandmother has slept with a young man who was supposed to marry Jennifer Aniston's mother. And the plot goes on, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, oh my God. Do you want to be on the podcast, Emily?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying, talk shit about movie at least.
Well, I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to get to the whole movie. I'm trying to do it. Anyways, Jennifer Aniston thinks that this man may be her father. So she goes and visits this man. And she visits him and she's like, I think you're my father. And he's like, nope, can't be your father. I shoot blanks. The next scene, the very next scene, she fucks him. The man she literally just thought was her father. It's gross. It's really gross. I mean, not only the fact that he's like 3 times her age and has slept with her mother and her grandmother, but also the fact that literally seconds ago she thought it was her father. And then immediately, without getting a DNA test, without doing any background checks, she's just like, well, I guess you must not be my dad. Just because he said it. And then later on in the movie, there's like this weird moment where she thinks that he might actually be her dad because he has another son.
Oh no.
You're like, that's fucking gross. And so she's like, I'm leaving. And then she realized that it's not his son. And then she's fine with it again. She then is about to sleep with him a second time. This man who she thought was her father twice. It does have Mark Ruffalo in it. And so there's this weird love triangle between Mark Ruffalo, who, by the way, is the nicest human being, and Jennifer Aniston, who is weird and corrupt and a little evil.
Not evil.
Really? Because she sleeps with the man she thought was her dad.
That's not evil. That's just gross.
Yeah, I agree. It's
but
very
she
gross.
does all this while engaged to Mark Ruffalo. So at the least cruel. And then the third person is, of course, the father. Well, not father. It's gross, man.
This sounds awesome. I want to watch it now.
You know what? You should watch it.
I might watch it. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah. Rob Reiner.
It's bad enough that it's good.
I'm guessing it's an ugly looking movie too, because Rob Reiner is a hack director.
Well, he's got Princess Bride.
I think that movie does not look good. I think it just looks okay.
It looks fine.
Not a fan of Princess
Bride. It's a good
Bride.
movie. Wow.
Overrated movie. I like it, but it's overrated as fuck.
It's awful. It looks bad.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston is not a good actor. I don't think I've ever seen her in something well. I don't know if that's necessarily her fault. Maybe she's just never been cast well, but I've never seen a good Jennifer Aniston performance. I can't. Can you think of a good Jennifer Aniston performance?
Well, I guess off the top of my head, no. So that's obviously not a good sign. But here, let me look at her fucking thing. Oh, she's okay in Office Space.
Oh yeah, she's in Office Space. She's fine though.
She's cute.
Like
she's
at
cute
best,
in that
she's
movie,
fine.
Yeah, but it's like I'm looking through her shit. I am like looking through her movies, and it's like, oof, not like a good assembly here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily her fault. She might be a fine actor. It might just be more the roles she's taken, which I guess is also her fault, but also not. Yeah, it's awful. It's weird that Mark Ruffalo's in this movie because Mark Ruffalo, I love Mark Ruffalo, but I guess during
he's all right. Yeah,
all right. Did you ever watch the HBO series I Know This Much Is True?
I don't watch TV, so no.
Well, it's not TV. It's a mini series. It's based off a book.
You talked about this before. Yeah, I know. You
did.
talked about the show with me before. Yeah, I know you
talked about it right after I watched it.
Where he plays like plays two guys.
It's some of the best television out there. Incredible book. Love the book. It's incredible in all of the ways. I'm a big Mark Ruffalo fan. I love him. And he's good in this too. But he's only in like 10 minutes of this movie. I think that's the biggest flaw of this movie. Is this movie could have just been a Mark Ruffalo movie, but instead it's this weird Jennifer Aniston fucks her father kind of.
Cool.
It's disturbing. It's a disturbing movie. Like the minds who made this movie are disturbed.
Written by the guy who wrote Ocean's 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm baffled, man. Truly baffled.
A little strange, yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's just
cool.
What else you been watching? Anything else?
The only other thing I want to bring up is I did see a movie I wanted to watch for a while that is an interesting one. The Dan Aykroyd directed film, the one movie that he directed, Nothing But Trouble, 1991, Nothing But Trouble. I've heard a lot about this movie. I've watched multiple videos about it. I've read things here and there about it. And what it essentially is that it's Dan Aykroyd's unfiltered, fucked up vision put on display. They got crazy shit. They got Dean Cundy to shoot it.
Okay.
They got Dean Cundy. They got Chevy Chase, John Candy, Demi Moore to be in it. Tupac Shakur is in it.
Tupac is in it?
There is an extended hip hop song in it.
A Tupac song?
He is like in the background, weirdly enough.
Weird. Okay.
No, I'm serious, dude. Like this
Yeah,
movie, this movie. Okay, so it's just like a movie that has like a weird reputation as this kind of like weird, kind of unfiltered vision on display that had a really big, that was given a very big budget because Dan Aykroyd, he's hot off the trail of the Ghostbusters movies.
Yep.
So it's like which he worked on, and he's in this movie too. And all it is that it's about this movie where Chevy Chase and Demi Moore, they're like neighbors and they live in New York City. And they and these two other people, they leave New York City to go someplace else. And then they take a wrong turn and they end up in Judge Alvin J.P. Volkenheiser's home. And they pretty much stay here in the home the whole movie. It's kind of like a weird haunted house thing with all these like weird like production choices, and
Okay.
it must be seen to be believed. The movie never made me laugh once. It's not funny. It is just completely unbelievable. It's just kind of like an unbelievable display of pure id and ego it's just weird and embarrassing and funny, but also there's like a lot of like creativity going on too. It must be seen to be believed. Chevy Chase in it is terrible. This movie cemented for me that Chevy Chase is terrible. He's a terrible actor. He does not try hard. And in this movie, the whole time he's doing these little quips, like these little asshole quips, like when things happen. And I want to punch him so much. He is so awful, and this movie has cemented for me how terrible of an actor he is, and how unfunny he is, and how lazy he is, and and he's a hack. But the movie is extremely interesting and must be seen to be believed. It is really weird and gross, and yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's just I'm glad I watched it because it's a spectacle.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer right now,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
weird. John Candy, yeah, plays like two different characters.
sure fascinating.
It's not funny. It's like not a funny
It does
like
not look
it's meant to
funny.
be a comedy, but like because it's not funny, it's fascinating that it's not funny. Everyone should watch it at least once.
That seems like an interesting study in just human behavior, and
You've seen like Dan Aykroyd stuff lately, right?
yeah,
Like interviews and stuff like that.
I don't think so. No,
No, really? I mean,
I
like
don't think
really, you
so.
haven't seen like him like on Larry King and stuff like that.
No.
He believes in ghosts and aliens.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
it then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
He'll go on TV and stuff like that, and he'll like lament very wildly that like aliens and ghosts
Yes.
exist and
He's
stuff
like
like that.
a founding member of some sort of like alien society, right?
Probably, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he
Yes,
he's
that's
just
right.
kind of like he's just
He's a
kind of a
crazy
crazy
person.
guy. Yeah, he's a crazy person.
And this is just the epitome of his craziness. I love that.
They were like, yeah, you can make the movie, and he's like, okay. And it has like I don't know, like when you kind of peel into it too, there's like some conspiracy theory stuff in there too that is kind of
Sure.
interesting, like
Yeah.
that you really have to search for, but it's in there. And people pointed this out on Letterboxd as well. So I really recommend it. It's interesting.
Wow. I'm fascinated by that. It is hard for me to get through Chevy Chase though, because I find him to be
He's terrible in it.
awful and awful.
Like not a good actor at all.
No, just an asshole, and just in all of the ways, not just as a person, but as an actor, and just incredibly unlikable. And just, I see nothing worth having with him. But this sounds fascinating, and it sounds like something I want to watch because it,
Everyone should
it
watch
just
it.
sounds
Everyone should
wild.
watch it once. Yeah. It's good.
Well, the last thing I will mention is a TV show I watched called Beef, which I was expecting very little from because it's a Netflix original. And I'm like, fucking Netflix originals, they haven't exactly been on their game in a while, at least in the world of television. But it was on Letterbox, which surprised me. And I went on Letterbox before Emily and I watched it because we were going to watch anyways, but I wanted to see what the people of Letterbox were going to say. And people on Letterboxd really, really like this show. I mean, it has quite high ratings. I think the average rating on it, let me see, it's like 4.5 stars, if not higher. Let me look. Yeah, the average rating is 4.4 with the most ratings on 5. I mean, it's fucking like people fucking love it. And I was skeptical, but it's actually quite good. I was surprised by it. It looks really good, which was surprising for a Netflix movie. Produced by A24, the one and only. Steven Yeun, who I like a lot, is great in it. Ali
He's
Wong,
good.
who I'm skeptical of, does a good job in this. It has a lot of big name Asian American actors in it.
Right.
I feel like if they were white, they probably wouldn't have been able to get them, but because they're not white, they were able to get them. Like that's just how it is in the world. So a lot of great acting chops going on here. Looks really good. It's funny, it's weird, it's strange, it's inventive, and it just keeps going up and up. And it's one of those shows where I had no idea how many episodes it was, and at the end of each episode, I'm like, oh, that's the last episode, and it would just keep going, which I think worked in its favor. Which is one of the biggest complaints on Letterboxd about this film, is they say it goes on too long, but I disagree with that. I think the upped ante with each and every episode works, and it just gets more and more absurd. And I think that's part of the reason that it works. And they do that cool thing they did in Annihilation where they kind of move the scenery around in like this weird esoteric way, which is really cool. Some really cool effects going on. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was a lot of fun. I don't know if you would like it that much.
No, I'm good. I'm not gonna watch it.
I would suggest our listeners
Yeah. Okay.
take a look at it if they haven't seen Beef yet. It's a
Yeah.
fun watch. It looks good. It's silly. It's weird. It's dark.
This was like you said, like built up, but it's been completely torn down now because of David Cho.
Yeah.
So that whole situation has kind of tainted it. You saw that, right? With the like him like taking stuff down.
Kind of. Do you want to talk about it a little bit more though?
Yeah, he's in the show and like he's been doing this thing where he's like putting out DMCA takedowns of him like appearing on a podcast in like 2014 about how he like sexually assaulted, talking about how he sexually assaulted like a massage therapist. You said you heard about this?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's just kind of funny. It's like people love to like build stuff up, but people also love to like tear stuff down as well. So that's not really a reason like I don't want to watch it. It just doesn't look interesting to me. But, that's cool that it's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better than anything Netflix has done in the world of television in a long time, I would say. So I think the reason I like it isn't necessarily the show itself or any of the things about the show. I think it's just because way back in like the era of Netflix is going to start making stuff, like back in 2015, 2016, when you had things like the Meyerowitz stories, The Irishman, Roma, like Netflix seemed dedicated to the idea of making high quality content by high quality directors because they, as Martin Scorsese says, they have kind of the opportunity to do it because big budget studios just can't do that because those kind of movies never make money. But a subscription service doesn't need to make money that way. But then Netflix said fuck it and then spent the last 6 or 7 years just making shitty documentary, right? A million different crime documentaries and shitty TV shows and fucking Netflix original movies that are all
Hallmark
trash.
Christmas ripoffs. Yeah.
Basically just Hallmark. And that's been really disappointing because that seemed to be the direction that pretty much all streaming services seem to be moving in, is just like, let's produce as much content as we can so people won't leave. Like, we don't care about the quality of content as long as we have more content than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, when The Irishman came out, like that was an event. It's like,
right?
The Irishman,
Yeah.
new Scorsese movie, 3 hours, like over 3 hours,
Yes.
and like you get all your favorite guys in there. Great movie. And then now it's like, yeah, we have Dwayne Rock Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot movie. It's like, oh, okay, all right, like it's just not the same.
Exactly. Yeah. So obviously this isn't saying that Netflix is going to move back in that direction, but it was nice to kind of get some of that refreshing, oh, Netflix is actually making like original content for smaller audiences, which I think the direction streaming services should go in if they are ever to succeed, because almost none of these streaming services are actually profitable, but none of them seem to care about that. They don't care about actually making stuff that people want. They just want to get as many subscribers as possible. So
yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's it, man.
That's great. Great note to end on.
Still going through Seinfeld.
Seinfeld good.
It just gets better and better every season.
It's hilarious.
It's baffling me. Like the first couple of seasons, it shows me just like how bland the first couple of seasons are. But now that I'm in season, I think I'm like 5 or 6, it's every episode, it just hits, man. I mean, it really hits.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. So for those who haven't seen the underground indie show, Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld. No one's ever seen it. No, yeah, like really like hard to find.
But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening, and until next time.
Yeah.